Today we'll be creating some cute lettering in Procreate. Be sure to download the free lettering brush from the Doodle Squad library before jumping into this tutorial. Are you ready? Let's go! Hi, I'm Diana, the artist behind MyMcDoodles. Welcome to my channel. In this tutorial, we're just going to play around with our lettering, and you can export your finished words as PNG files to use for like stickers or your print-on-demand websites or whatever you wish. And I am using this outline brush that is available in the Doodle Squad library. If you're not already a member of the Doodle Squad, you can head on over to dianamcdermott.com/freebies, and there are some freebies on that page available for you. And you can sign up for my Doodle Squad directly from that page to have access to a full library of Procreate goodies. So I have a canvas that is the size of my screen. You can make your canvas whatever size you wish. Just make it 300 dots per inch minimum for your resolution so that it prints clearly no matter what you choose to create with your final lettering. So let's get started. I'm just going to use some like really fun bright colors that I have in my palette. Pink, blue, green, red, and orange, just kind of like these bright colors that I have been using lately in my artwork, and I think it just adds like a fun pop of color for Christmas besides the traditional like red and green. And I would like to create some like Christmassy lettering today. So for the first word, I'm just going to write Mary. The way this brush works is that you need to keep your pen down the whole time. If you pick up your pen and you try to keep going, it's going to make like this overlapping area, and I'll talk about how you can deal with that if you do need to lift your pencil in a minute. So let's just write out the word Mary, and then we'll talk about a few different things here. If your lettering is kind of shaky and you're not like really comfortable making like smooth strokes, or depends how quickly you write as well, you might need to adjust some settings. So this brush is already streamlined. So if you tap on your brush, you can see that the streamline is turned all the way up. So that gives you a nice smooth stroke. If it was lower, it would be like jittery. This is also a combo brush, so there's a couple things you need to do differently if you need to adjust your settings. So with a brush that's combined like this, if you simply adjust one component, it's going, look how like crazy this looks now. It's not going to do what you are intending, like if you wanted to make it more streamlined or less streamlined. So you right now have a brush that is completely maxed out on the streamline. And if you need it to be like a little bit less, like you feel like you're really having to like pull the brush along, like you're more confident in your lettering and you don't need it to be so streamlined, you can turn it down, but you'll need to adjust it to the exact same number on both of these components. So like that is 54%. You would also have to put it on the exact same number here so that it remains an outline brush. But as you can see, it becomes more jittery. It picks up like every little jitter in your hand. So if you're not like super confident in your lettering, then you probably want to leave it streamlined. And mine looks messy too, even though like I'm pretty comfortable with my lettering, it still gets like a little bit of wiggle in it and stuff. So I'm going to leave mine maxed out on the streamline for this particular brush. Another new feature in this newest version of Procreate is this stabilization. So that is an extra little bit of stabilizing that will help your strokes look really smooth. And again, you can't just adjust one. This is a combination brush, so it's two brushes combined to create this outline effect. If you adjust stabilization to make it more smooth, you also need to go to the other component of this brush and adjust it to the exact same number there, which I think you can just type it in now. So that's convenient. Make sure this second component is exactly the same in the settings for streamline and stabilization. And then that'll give you an even more smooth stroke. But you can see you really have to like pull it along. It's kind of awkward, I feel like, unless you like really need a lot of stabilizing. Like if you write like really slow, it could be fine, but I feel like it like really requires you to kind of like drag it around. It doesn't really go where I want it to go. So I'm going to leave that completely off on mine. But feel free to make adjustments as you need to. And then if you need to reset the brush, you can always go down here to About and just push Reset Brush, and it'll take you back to the settings that I originally created it at so that you can go back to your original brush. I would suggest if you're making a lot of adjustments that you create a duplicate by just swiping to the left and pressing duplicate, and then make your adjustments in your duplicate brush. Okay, so I'm going to be using the brush exactly as it's uploaded in the Doodle Squad library. And so we wrote our first word here, and I just want to talk about if you have to lift your pen. So let's make a new layer and I'll show you some ways you can deal with that. So, like for example, what if you're writing the word happy? Now it's kind of awkward to like make your A where you're like looping around then looping back around to avoid lifting your pen. So let's say you have to lift your pen. So I'll just lift it a couple times to show you. Okay, so now you have like kind of like this mess to deal with. So there's a few ways you could clean it up. So you can either like zoom in here and use like the selection tool and just kind of like take out these bits. And just erase it out, either with the selection tool or you could just use an eraser. But that is going to require you to like go in lots of times and really get every last bit, and it might not really look that smooth in the end. You can see it still like has like a problem here, and it's not like perfectly straight. It's going to kind of be a headache to do it that way, but it could be done. Another way you could do it is when you know you need to lift your pen. Let's just clear this layer. So let's use the same example word. So I'm just going to write happy again. Okay, so I know I have to lift my pen to make my A. I'm just going to make a new layer. And then I'm just going to try to complete the rest as much as I can without having to lift the pen. And also you could also utilize like little bits of like spacing like strategically in your writing so that it looks like it's intentional and you don't have to deal with like trying to erase out bits. But okay, so the H and then the A are on two separate layers. So then what you could do is just pick like which one you want to start erasing out. Like I think I'm going to go with the H, grab an eraser. I like to use the eraser in this monoline, which is a free brush in the calligraphy section of the Procreate library. And then just go in here and just take out that like little extra bit, and then go to the A and just do the same thing. And I think it gets like a much smoother effect. You can really like fake it a lot easier by doing it this way versus like having to go in and erase out that mess that was in the first example. It's still not perfect, but it's way closer. So you can see that looks like it was all connected from the very beginning. Like it looks like I didn't lift my pen. Once you're happy with it, then you just clip those down and there you go. So that's how I would deal with it when there's lettering that where you can't avoid lifting your pen. Let's go back to the Mary example here. So like for my E, instead of having to lift the pen to put the loop here like this, okay, I kind of plan ahead and I stop there for a second and then just like loop it around because I know that I am going to have to create the connection point there to get my E to look the way I want it to. So in my mind, like I know the flow is like just to stop here and then like continue on like that. And it kind of just takes like practice too to know which connections are going to be like the issues like that for you. And of course, if you are writing your lettering out one at a time, none of this is really a problem. What did you see that? There might be areas like this where you just need to pay attention to like going all the way back in to your original stroke to make sure it like connects and leaves that like white space. Sometimes Procreate does this thing where it skips. I don't know if that ever happens to anybody else, but that drives me crazy. It's particularly annoying when you're trying to do lettering and it skips like that. Okay, so anyway, if you wanted to avoid having to deal with like those connection points altogether, you could just make all your letters separate, which works too. Let's take the word happy and I'll show you a fun little trick I have. So I have my lettering done. You just write it out, make all your connections smooth. Let's use this fun colors. It's available in my Doodle Squad library. So take the red and just drop it in and look at that. It like colors in all of your letters with this really cute outline or this like cute like stroke. And I think that's a really fun way to make lettering super fast that looks like it took a little more time than it really did. So when you have a brush that's an outline brush like that, it can really be a time saver. So let's make a new word. I'll show you one more way. We can do some really quick fun lettering. So let's write like holly jolly. Okay, so again, we can drop the color in, but before I do that, I want to make a duplicate of that layer. And that way I always have this nice outline on the top that's like nice and clean. And then this bottom one, maybe we grab like this bright green, what they called it, yellow. It's like that yellowish green color. And then I'm just gonna like drop it in here, just like I did before. Make sure you get it into the white area so it spills out and fills the whole word in there. So it's completely colored in, but if you wanted to do something like really fun with it, like put a pattern in it or something, you could. So I have my top layer, which is my outline. Right now it's not very obvious because it looks exactly the same as this one with the red outline, but in a second it'll be more obvious. So I'm going to grab the layer that has the green that's spilled in as well and alpha lock it. So take two fingers and swipe to the right to alpha lock your layer, which means you can paint in it without any of the strokes spilling out onto the like the white area, like outside of this border of the holly jolly lettering. And then I'm gonna grab another color, maybe like this. Let's just do white. And then I want to make stripes across. So I'll turn my red outline layer back on so that it keeps it like clean looking and just make these stripes across. So just hold my pen down so it's a perfectly straight line and then you can place a finger on the screen and it makes it perfectly horizontal. And you could just put stripes down your lettering. They don't have to be like spaced perfectly or anything. It's just to add a little bit of like a pattern or something fun inside of the letters. And you can see if I didn't have my red outline on, then that's what it currently looks like. Like the white stripes have completely covered any of the area where the lettering is placed, but it won't spill out on the canvas outside of the lettering because it's alpha locked. So that is one way that you can keep your border like really clean with this like nice red outline, but also have like a fun type of pattern inside of your lettering. So I think that could look pretty cute. And you could even do like different colors and just make sure you're in that layer that has the green and not on your outside border. You could just add all kinds of stuff in there. You can make it plaid or polka dots or all kinds of stuff. So that's my holly jolly. I would say this lettering could be improved. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you an example of what I could do with this and then what I would use this for. I'm in my Mary layer. You could either duplicate it so that you could keep that nice clean border. You want to do it before you put your color in, or you can just go directly on this layer. I am just going to fill my letters with color. I'm not going to do a pattern this time, so I'm not going to bother duplicating it. So I'm just going to grab different like bright colors to fill in. Let's get like an orange to fill in these letters and make it look like really festive and fun. So I've used colors similar to like these Tombow brush pens over here. I really like that combo of colors for Christmas. It's just really cute and they fun. So you can use that outline brush to quickly write your letters and then drop your color in, making each one a different color. And it's just a really quick way to make some like lettering that's a little bit more unique. Now, what I would do with it is turn off my background layer and then export it by clicking this wrench and then share and then PNG. Make sure your background is turned off. And I'm just going to export this one PNG and just save it onto my iPad, and now I have this cute PNG image of the lettering that I could put on like throw pillows or stickers or my like things on my print on demand websites. And that's like a really quick, fun way you can make some cool lettering with a really pretty simple technique. Let me know what you think of this tutorial and share your lettering with me if you post it on social media. You can tag me at MyMcDoodles so I can see your cute lettering too. Don't forget to subscribe before you go. Thanks for watching!